Good evening, everyone. My name is Mazi Ezoke, and I am joining you this evening to discuss and look at some national issues. This is Njenje Media TV. If you're joining me for the first time, thank you for joining me. And if you are a regular here and you haven't subscribed to this platform, I will say by all means, subscribe to this platform, like and share. This is a place where all of us are citizens of Nigeria, of the Federal Republic. We all have equal right and equal share to speak our mind, no matter how that makes others feel. However, we would always mind our language. Now, for many of you who are just, before we dive into the matter today, the expose done by Alan Onyema on the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, whom I have, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, whom I have called out so many times on Twitter, and that will tell us and evidence of when I have called him out multiple times. Recall that he was the minister during COVID when Nigerian airspace was shut and the Enugu runway was being renovated or rehabilitated. And 10 billion naira was approved for that. I do not know, but I wouldn't say. But all I can tell us is that the Enugu, Caribbean International Airport Enugu runway that was renovated, that was rehabilitated, that was redone, redesigned by PW is now failing. I have tweeted about it. I have tagged him about it before he even, stopped being a minister. I will show us evidences here. We are in the business of trying to get things to be right. And before I continue, I must also update us on the recent happening which we have also published. Breaking news. President Muhammadu Buhari has suspended the EFCC chairman. Oh, did I say Muhammadu Buhari? Sorry. Tinubu has suspended EFCC chairman Bawa, that is indefinitely. Well, I tell you, Tinubu is bringing some cranking stuff that is very interesting. The first person to go, boom, MFLO. Second person, Kare, Kare, the NMPC, head, chairman, and now EFCC. Bam, bam, bam. We wish to know who's going to be replacing Bawa. I hope Nuhu Ribadu comes back, or someone who is able to jail all of them, even if it means that the ex-president is culpable, jail him as well. It means former presidents are all culpable. Bring the chain. Some of us will help you utilize the chain properly, the way the chain ought to be utilized. If it means that my father is involved in commingling of the national resources, give me the chain. I would be the one to do justice to that. Every one of them, from former president to even, it depends on how wild that net would go. Because there is a way you want to throw up that net, you may end up having the one who is doing the sack in the net. I wouldn't say more than that. You understand what I mean? You understand what I mean? Because if you ask me, it's just like Odumeje would always say, it could be like a Cinderella. When it becomes like a Cinderella.
I don't come for church business or stories, or come here and begin to do like homosexual glory. The Bible says something. Oh, hallelujah. They say, oh, this man is a man of God. If Kakusi Okunwaya, Udodi Leono Kagatawe.
So it's not about speaking, picking your words. It's about doing the work. On that, that's on its own. EFCC chairman has been suspended. I mean, we know what that means. That suspension means indefinitely he's not coming back. I think he is the youngest, or rather I would say he was the youngest EFCC chairman. We came with so much hope. Sadly, in the last 2-3 years that he's been there, nothing, everything to stand still. Buhari, what Buhari has done to Nigeria in the last 8 years might take decades to actually unpick all of them. Buhari inherited over 5,000 megawatts of electricity. You know, they told us they've gone to Germany, Siemens, do everything to get us electricity, yet he left less than 4,000 megawatts of electricity when we have spent billions trying to generate more money. I mean, you know, sometimes when you think about it, it actually gives you goosebumps because I cannot see the level of failure that a human being can be in 8 years, that you promise to, you know, increase more refineries and you ended up doing nothing. You promised to do every single thing that you promised you would do, none of them, you know. Don't forget that in 2014, at a campaign ground, you know, someone said that Naira was going to be $1 to 1 Naira, and the rest is now in history. I believe you, many of you who engage in import and export, that you are now buying 1 Naira for $1. Thank him. Now, let us now get into the meat of this matter. Like I said to us at the beginning, let me actually share my screen here so that some of us can understand what I'm talking about here. I said to us, let's review the works of Hadi Sirika and let us know if what he has done in the last 8 years is actually worth it. I do not know, but let us look at it empirically and let us, you know, the conversation be devoid of any sentiment, any, you know, be it ethnic, be it otherwise. Let it be just that we are looking at it perfectly the way we ought to. Okay, so now if I go back to this, I will now ask ourselves, how did we get here? That is the question that must you know, occupy our minds. Let me quickly share my screen and show us the Twitter here, what I mean. So this is my screen, and you can see the Twitter here. And this is my tweet to Hadi Sirika. When I went to Enugu about a month ago, let me see if I can pull that up and actually pull the month that I had this done. That was, when was this tweet? That was on the 9th of May, so that's over a month. I was in Enugu, and my attention was called to this. The runway that Hadi Sirika with PW did with 10 billion naira was failing. I tweeted this and I said, I tweeted this first set of photos after I took them from Enugu. Now, how can, this is a shabby job that was done at the Enugu International Airport. This is approximately 2 years plus, not even, because August is going to be 3 years, right? How can it be that 2 years plus, we're already having something like this on the runway? And I called the attention of the minister. Look at it. This is the second picture. How can this be failing? This is Enugu International Airport. Do not ask me how I have access to, you know, to these airports and get these things, you know, because some of the staff there who work there also are not happy. And they bring these things to my attention. And, you know, before I bring anything to this platform, I have to go and verify. I flew into Enugu and I saw this. I couldn't believe it. If you look at the background there, this is the new airport terminal that is still being built by the Chinese, which, unless the current governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter intervenes to take over and finish this airport, quote me, this airport will not be ready in the next 10, this terminal will not be ready in the next 10 years because of some of the things that, basically were messed up with that particular airport. Then you ask yourself, how did we get here? Bear in mind, while that Enugu runway was ongoing, rumor has it that the minister then, I'm not saying that he used the money from Enugu to go and build a house in the village. That's not what I'm implying. But rumor has it that within that space of time, he was also building some edifice in his own hometown in, guess where? Castina. Let me show us a picture. Obviously this picture, I've seen them before, but recently it resurfaced again. This picture is his own palace that he built in Castina while that Enugu runway was ongoing. Think about whatever you want. That's your own business. Mine is basically to say, I do not know how much ministers earn, but obviously that's the place in the village of your minister or former minister of aviation. I don't know if he was going to be contesting the emir of Castina. I don't know. I do not honestly know what the intention here is. But what I'm telling us and what I'm bringing to us here is to show us that, oh, did we see that? Sorry, let me quickly share that again. I think I made a mistake. Let me quickly share that again. Sorry. Pardon me. Okay. So if we look at this is the house of the former Minister of Aviation. Okay. And this house was being built or being finished at the same time, slightly after the COVID time. And Enugu Airport runway, obviously, I'm not going to say that a shabby job was done, but at least we have seen the quality of work that was done there, that within 2 years plus, the runway where we spent 10 billion naira to renovate, to put back to use, has such potholes. I'm not an engineer, but let that tell you something. And this is his own house. I do not know that if this, before I call his own street a runway, if this, what you have there is going to have potholes in 2 years, insinuating whatever it means, you be the judge. What we're trying to make here is to say, those we have given our rights, we have yielded to do, yielded our powers to represent us in one way or the other. They actually, if they are representing us well, it remains to be seen. Okay, so if we go away from this, now we come back now to the meat of the matter, where he engaged with Onyema, and he had gone to Arise TV, to say that Onyema stopped going to Dubai for lack of capacity. Because I know some of these things, when I heard him on that interview, I thought, wow, how can this man be lying? And thank goodness, within hours, the airpiece shared with me, and I believe other media houses, a press release. And that press release, let me look for the content of that press release. That press release actually said that Hadi Sirika lied. And beyond that, the CEO of APs today went back to Arise TV to say, okay, I have right of reply. When somebody comes to your station to say that XYZ have done, I do also have the right of reply. And APs went today to aside this that was done on Monday, because that was on Monday. His interview was on Sunday. He basically released this on Monday morning. Now, in this, their release on Monday morning, we watched with dismay the interview granted by former Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika to Arise TV on Sunday, June 11, 2023, where he made scrupulous claims about AP's Nigeria foremost airline, blah, blah, blah. Now, firstly, Sirika, in his bid to denigrate APs while praising Ethiopian Airlines, stated that we leased two Boeing 777 aircraft on a monthly lease of $250,000. $250,000. And what APs has done with this is to say, guys, what the Hadi Sirika has said is not correct. That's on plank one. Now, on plank two, which then explains things much better. Onyema today now went back to Arise TV and did justice. When I say justice, he did justice to that post that was obviously narrated by Hadi Sirika. In doing it, and the reason why this now becomes interesting is in that you can see on multiple occasions, Onyema did not want to spill the bean. What is then, what is in the bean to be spilled? You can see that insinuations were made where clearly some of these things or some of the things didn't happen the way it ought to, bordered on ethnic, sentiment and decisions. And you ask yourself, for how long shall where our parents slept with one another and begot us still decide our future? For how long? We have seen this over and over and over again, where decisions are made, then decisions, in the last election, for instance, we saw that in certain parts of Nigeria, where you'll be told, oh, you are not from this XYZ, we know you're going to vote for certain people, do not come out to vote at all. Because if you do, we are not going to take it lightly with you. Beyond this, you can now begin to wonder, for how long? Because when at every strata that this continues to happen, it begins to, give the people or certain business people or certain individuals the notion that, well, of what use? Of what use are we going to actually, if we need to, when and how shall
Sirika,
okay? So in this case now, what we're going to do is to quickly play some elements of that clip for us to
less than 3 days before exiting office.
And again, who were a minister for 7 years and 5 months or thereabout. It smacks of fraud. Sorry, there is no better word. It smacks and smells of fraud for you to want to float an airline 3 days before you leave office. And it was done in the most callous and I don't know. I mean, there are sometimes, some of these things you are lost of words, how to describe some of the things and activities you see.
Airline after it emerged as the highest bidder for the national carrier. Sirika claimed that Air Peace leased two Boeing 777 aircraft on a monthly lease fee of $250,000, parked the aircraft for several months, and incurred losses of $19 million.
An Air Peace at the time, he came to us and asked that he wanted us to permit him to be going to America, China, London, everywhere. We all gave him the permits to go. And he brought in two 777s. He was paying leases of about maybe $250,000 per one. So which is $500,000 he was paying per month for the two aircraft. And he kept them for 18 months.
You hear that? He kept them for about 18 months. And obviously, Onyema will come over and he will have his right of reply. So let's see what's happening to the video. His internet's trying to play up now. Oh, internet's trying to pick up what's happening. Let's see if we can still go. I think the internet is trying to.
And that is $9 million and didn't go anywhere. And by the time he was ready to start, his landing gear was due, his engine was due. Depending on what it is that was due, if you put together another maybe $10 million. So he was starting that business with minus $19 million. Who does that?
However, Airpeace boss, Allen Onyema, is faulting Sirika's comments, and he joins us now for a right of reply. Good morning, Mr. Onyema, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning.
Well, Chairman Airpeace, thank you very much for joining us. So this is basically a right of reply conversation. Mrs. Tony Olajide, your chief operating officer at Airpeace, already issued a statement stating spurious claims, as she puts it, by Senator Hadi Sirika in the conversation we had with him on this channel on Sunday. Maybe you want to go back to those spurious claims, as those claims affect Airpeace and the aviation industry generally, where you are a shareholder, with regard to Nigeria Air.
Well, it's quite very unfortunate that it ever happened. I'm not here to fight a battle with the ex-minister. It is not in my DNA to pick fights. But I must say that it's very shameful for an ex-minister of government, somebody who has been in, like he said, 20 years ago he was in House of Representatives, he was a senator, and in the last 8 years he has been a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, being paid from my tax paying. He supervised my ministry. You expected him to be our chief marketer, so to say. But that hasn't happened in the last 8 years. What you see, I'm not going to sit down here to expose a lot of things for the sake of and love of nation, but I must point out certain things. For an ex-minister of aviation to come out to say indirectly or directly that his airline or an airline he supervised is so incompetent, leased 2 aircraft, paying $500,000 monthly for 18 months, incurring $19 million. And he was saying it, he was peddling falsehood barefacedly. He never blinked. He was speaking as a matter of fact that happened. Imagine the damage this minister had done to the image and reputation of Airpeace with what he has done as an incompetent entity. Meanwhile, he was peddling pure falsehood. How do we now believe every other thing he has said on that day? How do we believe that? So to start with, Airpeace doesn't have 2 777s. Airpeace has 3. And those 3 are outrightly purchased. 2 of those planes are in fact ex-Emirates. One is ex-Singapore Airlines. With everything you can think of inside those planes, they were outrightly purchased by Airpeace. Therefore, we never paid a lease rental to anybody. We never incurred, in the first place, you can't even use $250,000 to rent a 777. How much do you pay for a single-aisle aircraft? No talk of a 777. So
let me quickly see if I can change media source, because these appear to be lagging. I do not know why, but it suddenly, when it got to talking about the the Airpeace matter and the internet began to misbehave. I'm not insinuating that, well, nothing is impossible in this country. I'm not insinuating anything, but it's quite funny that the moment we started going this way, this started happening. So let's try another media source and see if we can get a better reception with that. Okay. So, but I mean, you all have heard what he has said so far. that it is impossible to rent, at that rate, basically 250 million, that it is, 250,000 per month, that it is impossible. And obviously, without even thinking twice, this guy is a shrewd businessman, and I don't believe any shrewd businessman would ever pay such amount. So let's see if this one is going to be better.
Barefacedly, he never blinked. He was speaking as a matter of fact that happened. Imagine the damage this minister had done to the image and reputation of Airpeace with what he has done as an incompetent entity. Meanwhile, he was peddling pure falsehood. How do we now believe every other thing he has said on that day? How do we believe that? So to start with, Airpeace doesn't have 2 777s. Airpeace has 3. And those 3 are outrightly purchased. 2 of those planes are in fact ex-Emirates. One is ex-Singapore Airlines. With everything you can think of inside those planes, they were outrightly purchased by Airpeace. Therefore, we never paid lease rental to anybody. We never incurred, in the first place, you can't even use 250,000 to rent a 777. How much do you pay for a single aisle aircraft? No talk of a 777. So this is a minister trying to fool the entire nation in his desperate bid to fool everybody, to hoodwink the nation. He was peddling falsehood on Airpeace. So how do we as a nation believe every other thing he was saying out there? The Nigerians...
He actually said it, but he took it back a little bit. He said he was lying. And that's the same thing they said in their statement. There is no way that you can bold write it to say, this man is outrightly lying. To tell you that this man is lying is very simple. We all know the reason why Airpeace stopped flying to Dubai, because Nigeria and Dubai has a bilateral disagreement where Emirates no longer fly into Nigeria. And if there are no passengers, Dubai no longer give visas to Nigeria who wants to go to Dubai. So, are you going to carry Spirit if their own airline is also not coming and yours is not flying in?
Civil Aviation Authority is there. You can contact Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. They are the regulators. He was in charge. He signed the import permit of that aircraft, or those aircraft. He signed the import permit. You cannot import any aircraft into the country without the Minister of Aviation approving. He signed the import. If he was going
to... Let me not bore you with that, but there is this portion now where you now begin to understand. Here he's trying to explain there is no way when you want to import an aircraft, obviously you're going to state modus operandi. Is it a lease? Is it outright purchase? These are things you see in the form. There is no way, according to him. They never filled in that this aircraft is for lease. Why would a minister who signed the same thing go out on national TV to lie? Why would he actually single out Airpeace? Is it that all the while he has not been happy with Airpeace? I do not know. But here, the conversation gets interesting.
At any point, were there any moves made? And what was the outcome? If there was any resistance, why? Why didn't they want to work with local operators despite what he said on air? That was because they lacked capacity. What's the real reason then?
I'll give you the history of this whole struggle. Contrary to what the minister have been saying about Nigerian Air and the importance of having a national carrier, national carrier is a moribund idea worldwide. Countries don't go that route anymore. It's a drain on any country. Those who are in it are running out of it. National carrier, the phrase national carrier means government ownership. What countries do these days are flag carriers. British Airways is a flag carrier. is owned by the IAG Group. Just very few countries that are still into the national carrier thing, like South Africa. And you look at South Africa, where it's bleeding the treasury of South Africa. Several times they tried to close it. Unions will come fighting. The government is tired. Air India was out there for sale for over 10 years. Nobody tried to touch it because of the baggage. But recently, Tata bought it over. So they've divested. Countries don't go that route. Why should Nigeria in 2023 be going backwards instead of moving forwards? All they needed to do is to strengthen the ease of doing business so that people of means, private concerns of means will come and invest in the aviation industry. We are not fighting for ourselves. They told, we are afraid of competition. The airlines of Nigeria are afraid of competition. Nobody is afraid of this national carrier because it will fall and fail like a pack of cards. It's already there. What we are saying, AON, is this. Improve the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Remove those challenges that are stunting the growth of airlines in Nigeria. And these airlines will blossom. Do that, they didn't do it. Okay, when they wanted to do the national carrier, we gave our comments. Most people stood against it. When we saw that they were going to do it, we knew the whole thing was shrouded in secrecy. Our members told APs, okay, apply. When you went to that website, you'll be blocked. You never got anywhere. We did. We did. Forget what they say out there. We did. The bidding. Let them see. What else do you need to know? SACOL is part of this group. He named SACOL as part of this group. I'm not going to say on television certain things because I don't like heating up the politics.
Please say it. Please say it. Say it for the sake of.
You see, that is the same thing. Sometimes, sometimes we need to be saying these things. Say it and damn the consequences. After all, he's no longer the minister. He's sitting down there saying he's not going to say certain things, yet you're being destroyed. You're being destroyed by someone who, from your own narration, hates you and hates your company by and for the simple reason of likelihood of where you come from. And you're still saying that you're not going to say
the healing of this country.
SACOL has said it all on the floor of the National Assembly. On the day he announced this national carrier thing, the minister told us sovereign wealth was part of it, 5%. NSIA. SACOL and MRS, 46%. Ethiopia, 49%. Within hours, NSIA told him to withdraw that statement. So what else are we talking about in this country? What else do you need to know? If you could come on television to announce these are the successful bids, they must have presented a bid, and they said, we are not part of it. And the letter came and they said it was a mistake. Now SACOL came on the floor of the National Assembly and said, they don't know what you're talking about. And they used the worst language I've ever heard. They described the entire activities as whitewash. The video is there. We're all there at the National Assembly. SACOL. And someone like Taiwo Afolabi should be thanked by Nigerians. SACOL should be thanked by Nigerians. If not for SACOL, a lot would have happened. It's SACOL's refusal to put their signature on something that will change the economy of this country that saved this nation, nothing more. And those of us in AON, the AON that went to court, and we knew fully well that they might penetrate AON and destroy our ranks. 5 airlines came out and stood up and put their names on that suit, so that in case you destroy AON, the other ones, they have locus in law to do this. And those airlines are Max Air, Asman, Airpeace, Tobras, and United Nigeria. On Sunday, when you ask the question, why Airpeace? Because he must have mentioned Airpeace up to 15 times. I don't know what Airpeace has done to him. He said, okay, not only Airpeace, and again, Obiora Okonkwo of United Nigeria. and he deliberately forgot to mention the other ones. Are we trying to play the ethnic cards? Thank God the leadership of Dr. Abdulmunaf Yunus Sarina has given a teeth to bite. That man is a nationalist. Dahir Manga is from Katsina State. He owns Max Air. Dr. Abdulmunaf Yunus Asman, both of them, myself, Apes, Togas, owned by Roland Iyayi, and Obi Okonkwo of United Nigeria, went to court. And
you know, Asma, Castina, Buhari, Castina, Hadi Sirika, Castina, former President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, Castina. You can see that individuals, because that's when, sometimes when we make the argument that certain regions are full of hate, and I want us to somehow and sometimes pull back with certain statements. Umar Musa Yar'Adua, Castina, yet everybody talks well of him, blessed memory. Buhari, I don't know how many people that talk well of him. Hadi Sirika, well, all the things, all the fraud, all the mismanagement is coming to the public fore. Question is, these individuals, even the Asman that went to court with Airpeace is still from Castina. Just these 4 individuals from one state, yet they do not all have the same trait. But someone, irrespective of where you come from, had certain traits that now begin to threaten others or begin to do certain things because of where other individuals come from, then that individual will be called out. He said it here. Was he calling him out? Was he consistently talking about him because he is from a certain place within Nigeria entity?
Those people are still in court. So it's not an ethnic thing, it's a Nigerian thing. Okay. And today, I have to use this opportunity to congratulate our brother, Alhaji Dahir Manga. He's launching his first 777 today, yet we don't have capacity.
So one of the things says that you don't have capacity, but I see that you are having partnership with the government of Antigua. Other countries are calling you to come and set up their national flag carrier, but they say you don't have capacity. I want you to respond to that. And also, you don't have capacity, but during COVID-19, you went to everywhere Nigerians were to bring them back home when COVID-19 was raging on and all of that. And you've also helped with evacuation. But the conversation about you not having, tell me, what would you like to say as regards all of that? And why I kept on saying say it is because the things we live on say destroy our country. Say absolute truth. How do you feel being treated this way, with the Minister of Aviation? And also the certification. Did Nigeria Air pass that certification, the AOC certification and all of that? Please, I want you to tell the absolute truth about how you've been treated this way and other airlines so that Nigerians will know the truth. We keep saying we don't want to talk, we don't want to talk. This country is getting destroyed every day. We won't be the of the people. Let the people know.
No, Rufai, the truth is, I'm a student of nonviolence education. So sometimes there are things we...
You see, before we continue, I think we're going to, Rufai was only one pushing for the truth to be said. We are going to give Rufai air horn. For him, Rufai, we clap for you. You have done noble. Yeah? Now, look at it. There are times that you need to, in this point, you need to take up the gloves. There are times that make, I understand you're a gentleman. I understand you're within a murky water. I understand that you need to navigate certain things. But hey, when somebody, like an African adage that says, when a child crawls and bites me in the head without minding my gray hair, I will crawl back as an adult and bite the child in the box without minding the pampers. even if the pampas is soft. So there are times you need to also really say that it is. But let's see what happens. Rufai, everybody
manage to hit up the politics somehow. But the truth is this, we have to speak up. Well, that's why we went to court in the first place. Now, he said we don't have capacity. All those falsehoods were meant to demean the local operators, the indigenous Nigerian airlines, in favor of this charade they've put up with Ethiopia. That's all. To be allowed, even at the fake meetings. How many times, even the president, the former president, President Muhammad Buhari, shut down a project at the time. One man is just weakening the country to believing that this is needed. All they need to do is to set up a flyer. If you do if you provide the enabling environment for people to operate, more people will invest. This is now about capacity. He told the world that we are low in capacity. He told the world on television that Airpeace was given Dubai to fly, to conduct flight operations into Dubai.
So this is the time that he has started saying what we've been waiting for the whole time. You were accused that you do not have capacity, which is blah, blah. Why do you have to waste so much time to get to it? Tell the world, yes, you have capacity. If you do not have capacity, fly India, fly to China, fly to Malaysia, fly to Singapore, fly to South Africa, fly to United Kingdom, even to United States. Why? What manner of jealousy is this? How do you explain?
Are they flying now? Airpeace is no longer flying to Dubai because they are low in capacity. I say, whoever advised Senator Hadi Sirika come on television to defend the indefensible has not done him any good. The whole world knows. We started operations into Dubai July 5th, 2019. We never stopped until COVID. Everybody stopped. When COVID stopped, we started. UAE decided, for whatever reason, to complete ban on issuance of visas to Nigeria. Airpeace stopped going to Dubai. Emirates stopped coming to Nigeria. Neither Airpeace nor Emirates is flying this route now. None of them. So why should the Minister of Government deftly come on television that have this kind of outreach to the world to spoof forward because you want to paint the indigenous operators black and blue? Now, he said Airpeace doesn't have capacity. The same Airpeace, when the entire world shut down during the lockdown in 2020 because of COVID-19, Airpeace went to China on 3 occasions, bringing back Nigerians. That is 14, 15 hours non-stop flight, deploying our 777s to go ahead to bring Nigerians back to their homeland proudly. Yet Airpeace doesn't have capacity. Airpeace went to India 12 times, bringing Nigerians. Most Nigerians that went to India didn't have money to pay Ethiopia to bring them back. I deployed my jets. Airpeace deployed our jets. We went there, and those we brought back, the newspaper to tankers, we brought them back to their country free of charge. We did 12 sorties to India. Yet Airpeace doesn't have capacity. Airpeace went to Thailand, brought Nigerians back. Airpeace doesn't have capacity. Airpeace went to Malaysia, brought Nigerians back. Airpeace doesn't have capacity. Airpeace went to Indonesia, brought Nigerians back. They don't have capacity. In Malaysia, Indonesia, Nigerians went to the embassy, almost attacked everybody because they were stranded. Airpeace deployed, went there and brought them back. Airpeace went to South Africa during COVID, brought Nigerians back. Airpeace also went to England, to the UK, brought Nigerians back. Went on a second one, the UK authorities say, oh no. You don't come again, they cancelled whatever they gave us, the permit. It don't come again. They cancelled whatever they gave us, the permit they gave us are paid for Nigerians, are higher than Americans, are paid for Nigerians, are higher than Americans. A European carrier to bring them back. The federal government of Nigeria praised EPIS for doing that for love of country. We did others. We don't have capacity. During the xenophobic attacks, Nigerians were being killed. Nigerian shops were being raided. Nigerians were being dehumanized in South Africa. I felt bad. He has told some people that it was a public stunt. Which kind of public stunt? This is how I've been. I have to be proud of myself.
You see? You see? Now,
if it's deployed, when they
now, listen to this. Hadi Sirika, rather than being thankful to Onyema, evacuating people, there was never a time he would go to South Africa or go to Malaysia or go to China and say, oh, only people from his neck of wood should enter the flight. There's never a time that's going to work. But the minister to be thankful that a man used his own money where the state could not afford to pay. He used his own money to evacuate his own fellow citizens. Rather than to thank him, the minister had the infantry to basically say that he was doing it for showmanship.
From 2005 to 2008, until Yaradua came and asked me and Libe, who is this Onyema? I have a security report that this guy is decimating militancy. And they brought me. The rest is history today. I've always contributed to the well-being of this country. And all I get from some government officials as this kind of thing, they do all sorts of things, fight you from different angles, and this is what is happening. Yet we don't have capacity. EPIS doesn't have capacity. We deployed our 777s, went to South Africa, rescued Nigerians during the xenophobic attacks. On 2 occasions, Nigerians worked tall during that period. Nigeria as a nation was respected worldwide for what EPIS did on their behalf. Nigerians felt proud. You needed to see. Why did I break down inside the plane when they arrived? Yes, you saw me crying inside the aircraft. It was because I saw another woman carrying a child, and the woman was praying for me and saying, see, it was an Igbo guy that was carrying, that she lost a child in South Africa, that if you didn't come, maybe I would have died, and that, see, an Igbo guy was helping her to carry the other baby all the way from South Africa. They were all clinging to each other. They were singing national anthem. Nigeria became one. This is what we are using EPIS to do in the country. It's not about money. When you come to EPIS, it's mini Nigeria. We don't discriminate. I've trained Northerners, Southerners, Southwest, Southeast, giving them a meaningful employment, not just the minimum wage in EPIS is about 50,000 for cleaners. And we are in support of this present government of Ahmed Bola Tinubu. We addressed our staff. We told them, support this removal of subsidy. We are going to support you. And beginning this month, we are going to dish out palliatives to our staff in support of the government. This is what we've been doing. And the Minister of Government came out there and said, we don't have capacity. And we did all this. And recently, we deployed to Sudan.
Now, in all this, as he said, they all deployed
on this channel on Sunday.
No.
Maybe you want to go back to those spurious claims, as those claims.
No, okay, let's not go back. So the bottom line here is, you have seen it, he laid it bare, and he has been able to prove that EPIS didn't, that Hadi Sirika didn't act in good faith. Now, the last bit of this interview dwelled slightly more of where the ethnic slant comes in. Why would all this be happening? Not many of us know that, according to him, in the last 4 or 5 years, he has applied for the right to fly into London. So many of you who live in Europe may still be wondering, why is EPIS not coming in? Because if EPIS is able to fly into London, you may have sometimes during the low season, the opportunity to fly back to Nigeria for as low as 350, 400 pounds, that, for the economy class, and maybe 1,500, 800, 2,000, or even less for business class. But why is that not happening? And this is the part that you begin to think, why are we like this? Why are we like this? So I believe and I hope the internet is not going to be trying to do its magic again. But should that be the case? But let's try once more. Okay, let's try a different video source and see if we can get the last bit out, because this one, it's somewhat not loading properly. Okay, so we should be able to get you some visuals very soon. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it will work. I think that should be a
case, as AON is alleging, that Sirika, as Minister of Aviation, did not help any airline with regard to BASA. Quickly, because we have just a few minutes.
If I knew you were going to give me 5 minutes.
I think at this point, for some reason, the video on two of the media sources is not playing. Oh, okay. This one appears to be coming up now. This is very critical, and this is where a nation and the minister ought to stand by its own citizen and help them out. And let's hear what he says.
He was given about 20 or 40 or 60 or 1 hour to talk. I wouldn't have come in the first place.
Sorry, go ahead. Forget about how long he was given. Sorry. Okay. Niger and the internet. They're like NEPA and whatever. Oh dear. Anyway, so at this point, I think the video again doesn't want to play. Now, if you see on the comment section, in case if you have anything that you want to contribute, you see in the comment section the link to join the studio. We will be rounding up very quickly. So the point we're making here is, what do you think should happen to Hadi Sirika in this case? As he has shown a gross level of incompetence, as he has also shown that he is not entirely a detribalized Nigerian. How do you and what do you think should happen? Obviously, he is no longer the Minister of Aviation. If you wish to say anything, you can actually come in, or you look at the comment section, you will see the link to join the studio.
Force of government to fight for you and fight truthfully too. London, that is the lowest hanging fruit for any airline. Why is it that EPIS that doesn't have capacity is doing China? We started flying to China. We are doing India. We are doing Jeddah now, Medina on the Hajj. And after Hajj, we continue the scheduled operations. We fly South Africa. So Nigerians now go to India using EPIS twice a week, China once a week. We do all this. Now you get all this, but London, why is it that EPIS in the last 7 years have not been, or 6 years, have not been able to get into London? When we applied, first of all, to get this designation, it was difficult. Later, I was given designation. They gave us
So what he's trying to say here is that they were given designation to fly into London. But now, aside that, when you apply, the countries would send some documentations and say, okay, back to your aviation ministry to say, please, can you affirm and confirm that these companies are genuine and they are within the country and and they are operating
3 slots. I mean 3 frequencies. I cried out. I said, why 3 frequencies? This is a low-hanging fruit. This is a 6-hour flight with a lot of traffic. I can do 7 days, daily flight to London. I discovered that another airline, they told me that another airline, OmniBlue, was also getting some frequencies. And I was asking, which airline is OmniBlue in Nigeria? But I don't want to go into that. So later they increased it to 4. Then we applied. When we applied, because you need to apply for TCO, they wrote Nigerian authorities to ask for, do you know about this EPIS? And I was denied. They said, no, we didn't know about it. We didn't know they applied. We didn't authorize them to apply. I said, for what? So
now, you see this, and at this point, it has become very clear that it's no longer a hearsay. At this point, it has become very clear that it's no longer, if it was doubtful if what he was saying is true or not. At this point, it has become visible to the blind and audible to the deaf that this is clearly an ethnic motivated persecution. Why would you deny an airline that you know has capacity to fly to London, has capacity to do other things, and has been flying to all other places, but when it matters most, to fly to the most frequent route in Nigeria, United Kingdom, you deny? I mean, just hear that. They were denied.
TCO, that's the European Tech Country Operators Permit. You need to get it first before going to any European nation, UK inclusive. They stopped us. NCAA didn't allow EPIS to apply to go into London for 4 years.
Do you hear that? NCAA, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, headed by who? The same kind of people, the same with the Hadi Sirika. They wear the same head tie. For 4 years, a businessman trying to acquire aircraft to fly certain routes. No be we they do ourselves. No be we they do ourselves.
We are stopped. Reason. Oh, Arik messed up in London. Medview messed up. Therefore, we don't want to be disgraced. We almost lost this. Not NCA under the present DG. In fact, to the credit of the present DG, he was the one that actually took up the gauntlet to fight for us. This present DG, Captain Musa Nuhu, he has done everything possible to get, in fact, almost stopping BA from coming here. So, but the other NCA before him, for 4 years, we are not allowed to go. So who was manipulating them? For no reason. When you go, you say from above.
And the same former NCAA boss that he was talking about was still under what? The Ministry of Aviation. In all these years, in the last 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, only one man has been the Minister of Aviation. Only one man. Now, ask yourself, if they say it quacks like a dog, flaps the wing like a dog, definitely must be a dog. I mean, there is no gainsaying it.
Fine. I wanted to fight. The love of country, I know some of the things I will say, it will turn into ethnic issues. Well,
it is already, unless you're denying it, brother. Unless you're denying it, it is already ethnic fight. The gloves are off. Someone has removed your trouser. It's now getting into your boxers, and you're still trying to use your hand to cover your nakedness. It is better you Kukuma remove the boxers, let everybody, and let the Oganadi case ring their bells, and let us fight the fight.
I don't want that. So I kept my cool. Later, NCS said we should get IATA. We should do IATA audit on TCO. Mind you, EPIS has IOSA, and that is the highest internationally recognized safety audit for any airline. EPIS has been getting it. We are IOSA certified. They say, no, you have to do audit for the TCO. We now brought in IATA, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that, hundreds of millions of naira to bring them in. At the end of the day, EPIS passed the audit. And we told them, even IATA sent to them, they said, okay, now we have to audit you ourselves. The game continued until Musa Nuhu stepped in and said, enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Now, again, see the reason why I keep saying it. Before you tag the whole thing hate. Who stepped in? Musa Nuhu. Again, another person. So it's not necessarily about, the region per se, but it is also ethnic motivated. But in all of the other, to say, hey guys, enough is enough. Can we get this thing?
Before they now allowed us to apply. So
his application, for 4 years, you are blocked from applying. Application, not even that you get to the point of...
When we applied, we are still on it. We are still going through it. But when you look at this Nigerian air thing, look at the shareholding. I have it here. The shareholding agreement, I have it here. Without SACO, Nigeria would have been in trouble. The entire management, leadership of the entire management.
I think SACO, for some of you who may be wondering what it means by SACO, I believe SACO here is the Senate Committee on Aviation. I think the head of that was Nolim Naji from Enugu State, basically. So
the DFO, the CEO, all the management positions, the headship.
All the government should have done is, you have seen that this local airline has capacity. Why don't you do the best thing you can to, give them a little push to thrive, employ more people, expand, pay more tax to the nation, make the nation proud. Question that you will ask yourself: were these to be Aliko Dangote, would anyone in their right senses ever say for 4 years they will block Dangote from applying, talk less of getting? Where Aliko Dangote today, if he wakes up today, say he wants to launch a Dangote airline, I tell you, they will give him all the necessary papers in 6 months to fly to America, to fly to. The day he will have the crazy idea to have Dangote airline, you see that doors will be open. Now we are hearing allegations that MFL and many others used federal government money and pumped it into the refinery. The refinery, we are told that it is a private refinery. It appears somewhat like your own money, isn't it? Why is that happening? Why is that so? Because Aliko Dangote is from certain places. He's from a certain place, sorry. So, sadly, Allen Onyema, you appear not to be from a place where you could be offered help. So, according to Dr. Chris Nwabezendide, the former Minister of Labour, he said that the challenge with Nigeria is that certain people appear to have certain ceilings, that you cannot grow past certain ceiling. Those who can grow past certain ceiling, sadly, in most cases, are dwarfs. No matter what they eat, if you give them all the proteins in the world and give them all the beans and ewedu, sadly, they cannot grow past. But those who have the gene to grow past that ceiling, they will try to use an Iroko tree to seal the ceiling that no matter what you do, you cannot break it. Well, we'll keep continuing. We'll keep trying. We'll keep at some point, you will know that he who holds himself, he who holds another on the ground, must remain on the ground. For that man, he who holds on the ground, not to stand up. That is a very
Ethiopia, deputies, Nigeria. Then look at the shareholding. Ethiopia, 49%. There's a company called Fairfax. Who is this Fairfax? It's another Ethiopian, owned by an Ethiopian. They are transaction advisors. They are going to get 3%. They are going to get 1.45% of the shareholding capital, which is put at 250 million. Ethiopia will bring 122 million, but not as cash. Rentals. They'll bring what Ethiopia is bringing is only the Nigerian companies that are going to bring money. SACOR and MRS. I have it here. The document is with us here. Ethiopia is not bringing a penny into Nigeria. Ethiopia will pay rentals for their own plane. It's written here, black and white. Pay rentals for their own plane for 5 years. So even if they pay the 122,000, EPIS alone is worth over $2 billion. As I speak to you, Boeing is in my office now for the delivery of our 737 MAX, which is costing over $1 billion.
You know, there are some times when you really get angry, it go good to blow your own trumpet small, but not for too much. APC is buying an order, aircraft in Nigeria, over $1 billion. 1B, as in the letter B, not M. $1 billion. APC is doing that, buying that, and we are giving the people that have capacity, they're bringing in just less than 200 million in the system. See, until we begin to believe in ourselves, that we also have the capacity to do that.
From Embraer that we've started receiving is costing about $1 billion. 5 of them have entered Nigeria. Ethiopia is bringing nothing, and they are going to earn 49% of your country's wealth. I call on President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to immediately dissolve this charade called Nigerian Air and start his own thing.
Okay, Mr. Onyema, I'm sure there will be more opportunities to further discuss this subject, which is important.
Anyway, so people, if you hear the later part of this conversation, you can see when why the title was chosen. That this clearly has turned out to be a case of ethnic Barakboism. There is no other way. There is no other way to say this, because this has turned into ethnic suppression. Put it that way. It's ethnic suppression. Onyema has used this interview to expose Hadi Sirika's hidden agenda over the years, sitting on something that he could have allowed to blossom. Even while he was sitting on that thing, the same person that was being oppressed, he's been trying to, maneuver himself to come out, grab some air, get some fresh air, do this, just to make ends meet. Yet, I do not know what, apart from those things we've seen that he's in Castina now, what he is going back to Castina to do. Of course, I take it and I give it to him. He was a former pilot. You can't become a pilot if you're daft. I mean, give it to him. You must be smart to be a pilot. Yes, he was a former pilot. Yes, he was a former House of Rep. Yes, he was a former senator. But in all these exposures, it appears there are certain threats inherent in the system that has not really gone away. And these things, these are things that sometimes when people look at it and they get angry and they say, damn it, if you do not want them into to be properly handled and treated like every other person, then damn it, give them or allow them to establish their own homestead. But again, that is not the conversation for today. The conversation for today is that Hadi Sirika has been exposed. And this expose is actually, it's the question, and to end it will be, what do you watching me now? Sorry, you watching me now, what do you think will be the best thing to be done at this point in time? Many of you are already calling for Bola Tinubu to arrest him the way, or rather, the way he has done to Emefiele. Some of us have even gone further to say, in the Nigerian air, Nigerian air fraud that happened. If you go and look at that picture, I say every single person in that picture, should be maybe not arrested, should be brought to come and answer questions, because that's what it is. Cannot imagine we're adults in the morning, knowing that actually they are trying to defraud a nation, who have their bath. Some of them apply perfume and roll on, put on their ties and wear their shoes and go and stand. And I'm like, generations to come will look at you and say, we have Yahoo boys. But here are standing the Yahoo men who tried defrauding the nation on a very, unlikely place that you would ever imagine. Because this is something that is international and it is very open. But someone who come that low in order to do something like this really, really would make you want to think, how on earth would anyone want to do something? It's because that something like this, that's why it keeps on going. On that note, I said thank you very much for joining me. I am still Mazes, okay? Please like, share, and subscribe to this platform, and I'll see you next time. Just like we said before we started, there was a breaking news that the EFCC chairman has been suspended indefinitely. So that puts in within the last 1 week, we have seen Emefiele gone and arrested by DSS, eventually taken back to Abuja. We do not know if Emefiele has been released by now. We have seen the chairman of Nigerian NNPC gone, and now the third person in line is the Bawa, that is the EFCC chairman, and who is also a very young man in his 40s actually. So for us, we want so many heads to roll, and I say thank you very much for joining us, and good night everyone.